we don't really take note of. Unless we have proper discrimination, we can easily be misguided by things that seem harmless, but can ultimately create great diversion. Srila Prabhupada gave us so many of his books, and as we heard from His Holiness Sachidanand Maharaj, Vaisheshika Prabhu, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, how Srila Prabhupada emphasized, he put his heart and life, his ecstasies, all the essence of the knowledge of Krishna and all the great acharyas in these books, and how important it was for us to read them, to whatever capacity we have to do so, so that we have proper intelligence to discriminate between what is favorable for devotional service and what is unfavorable. It doesn't mean we disrespect people, but we have to be very careful to understand what can divert our attention away from the path of pure devotion. Mahatsevam dwaram ahu vimuktes tamodwaram yoshita sangi sangam. The 5th canto of Bhagavat tells us that association with great souls opens the doors to liberation. But indiscriminate association with people too much attached to the material ego and material sense enjoyment can open the doors to bondage. Niskinchanasya bhajano. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained that to associate with people too addicted to these things, it's like poison. We can give association, but we have to be very, very careful not to allow this vatsasura, which seems to be such an innocent thing, to create havoc in our lives. So certainly throughout the day, many of us have to work, many of us have so much family, so many people we associate with. But if we have strong sadhana, if we have strong association with sadhus, with holy people, if we have strong discrimination by nourishing ourselves, by reading Srila Prabhupada and holy books, then we can actually elevate people and not be dragged down by the vatsasura. We should be childlike, but we should not be childish. So after this, the cowherd boy said to Krishna that we don't want to play with you now because you just killed a calf. Krishna said, but the calf was a demon. They said, we know he was a demon, but still he was a calf. So you should purify yourself. Krishna said, what should I do? They said, you should take bath in the river Ganga. Krishna said, well, I don't want to leave Vrindavan, so I will bring the Ganga here. So Krishna sat down and meditated, manasa, with his mind. And from his mind, Mother Ganga sprang out, right in the middle of where Govardhan is, to form Manasa Ganga. The Ganga that actually manifested from Krishna's mind. And then Krishna bathed in the Ganga, Manasi Ganga, And all the gopas bathed in Manasi Ganga, and the calves drank the water from Manasi Ganga, and it became a very, very beautiful place. And that is how Manasi Ganga manifested in Sri Braj Bhumi. One day, Nanda Maharaj was with the other cowherd men and elder cowherd ladies. They were hearing some Brahmins describe the glories of the river Ganga. And they heard how Garuda captured a snake with his talons, his claws, and was flying away with him. And he happened to fly over the river Ganga. And the tail of the snake happened to touch Mother Ganga. And at that moment, the snake turned into a four-armed form of a resident of the spiritual world. When Garuda saw that, he became so ecstatic. He took that, who used to be a snake, and he put that spiritual-bodied person on his back and flew him non-stop to Vaikuntha, the spiritual world. So Nanda and the cowherd men said, we must go to the Ganga to take bath. It's very, very holy. So they started arranging for this pilgrimage, and they were putting things on their ox carts and arranging and packing things for the long trip. And Krishna asked, where are you going? Nanda Maharaj said, we're going to the Ganga to take bath. And Krishna said, you don't have to go out of Vrindavan. All the holy places in the whole universe are all in Vrindavan, including the Ganga. And Nanda Maharaj says, well, you are just a small boy. What are you talking? How is Ganga here? Ganga's in Himalayas. We're going to the Ganga. No, you must understand. Nobody believed him. He said, just come with me. And Krishna took Nanda and the other gopas and gopis to Manasi Ganga. And just at that moment, the presiding deity of the Ganga, Ganga Devi, emerged from Manasi Ganga, riding on a crocodile. And she smiled. And she offered her pranams and her worship to little Krishna. And while she was offering her pranams to Krishna, all the Brajavasis were bowing down and offering their worship to them. And then they understood that this is Ganga. But for the residents of Vrindavan, it's more than just the Ganga. It is the Ganga plus Manasi Ganga. Not only does it liberate us from our sins, but because it emerged from the heart of Krishna, it's saturated with Krishna's love. And it awards us that love. According to Sri Jiva Goswami, Krishna has so many pastimes at Manasi Ganga. One time, Sri Radharani and her principal gopis were carrying milk and yogurt and butter in pots on their heads, and they needed to cross over Manasi Ganga, and it was getting late at night, and there was only one old boat with a boatman who was kind of covering himself with disguise, and they bargained over the price, and it was agreed, and Sri Radharani and gopis got on the boat, and when they were somewhere in the middle of Manasi Ganga, the boatman said, I'm too tired and too hungry, I can't go any further. Give me your sweets and your butter and your yogurt. So they started feeding him and feeding him and feeding him. And then he took a few more strokes and he said, I ate too much, I can't row anymore, I have to take rest. He said, please, while I'm resting, massage my arms and legs. And they said, we will take your arms and legs and throw you in the Ganga unless you take us to the other side. So then he started rowing again, and he started shaking the boat in so many ways to make it look like it was sinking, and said, there's too much weight in this boat, we're going to sink. Well, what are we supposed to do? He said, all of the pots that you have with all the butter and yogurt and ghee, throw it overboard into the Ganga. Offer it to Mother Ganga, because otherwise we will sink. So they were in the middle of this. And in those days, Manasi Ganga was much, much bigger than it is now. So they were throwing and throwing until all. Then he rowed some more, and then he stopped. He said, we're sinking. There's still too much weight. Take off all your jewels and throw it. So they did that. He started rowing again, and he was shaking. And he said, we're still too heavy. And the gopi said, what should we do? He said, take off all your clothes. They said, we will throw you into the Ganga to compensate for the weight of our clothes, unless you get going to the other side. So he started rowing again. But by his Yogamaya mystic potencies, all of a sudden, giant clouds formed in the sky, and heavy winds, and the boat was going this way and that way and rocking back and forth, and water was getting in. And Sri Radharani spontaneously, by the Leela Shakti of the Lord, it appeared that they were in a helpless situation in the middle of this lake. And she said, oh, boatman, save us. And as soon as she touched Krishna in that way, all the clouds disappeared. And it was a beautiful, beautiful night. The moon arose. And then Radharani realized it was Krishna. And the gopis looked on as she took his flute and showed it to them. And for the rest of the night, they were having beautiful boat pastimes, according to Jiva Goswami, in the lake Manasi Ganga. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed there, he went to the temple of Haridev. The story is, one time Sri Radha and gopis were on the banks of Manasi Ganga waiting to meet Krishna. But Krishna didn't come. In separation, they started crying out, Haridev, 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 again and again and again. And their separation was intensifying. And as they were chanting the names of Krishna, it was like adding pure ghee to the fire of separation. The fire was burning hotter and hotter and higher and brighter, until they were literally on the verge of death, crying out, Haridev, 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 in their love and separation. And at that moment, Krishna appeared in the form of Haridev, a deity of 7-year-old little Krishna lifting Govardhan hill with the left hand. And the gopis worshipped that deity. And each day they would come back and worship that deity of Lord Krishna. And later on, in the exact spot where that pastime took place, the great-grandson of Krishna, Vajranabh, installed the deity of Haridev. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he began his parikrama in this way. First taking his bath in Manasi Ganga, then having the darshan of Haridev, and for hours and hours, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita describes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu beholding the beautiful form of Sri Govardhan Dhari. The Lord was dancing in great ecstasy, attracting all of the villagers of Govardhan to join him as he chanted the holy names. Then Lord Chaitanya went to Brahmakund, which is also in the area of Manasiganga. Brahmakund, we discussed from Srimad Bhagavatam how after Krishna lifted Govardhan hill and defeated Indra's pride, Indra, along with all the major demigods, came to offer an Abhishek ceremony to Lord Krishna. And the water that various of the devatas bathed Krishna with formed 108 different kunds around Govardhan hill. Some of them still exist. One is Brahma Kund, the water of Lord Brahma that he bathed Krishna with. And there is a Murti temple there of the presiding goddess of this western section of Sri Brajbhumi. Her name is Manasi Devi. Vajranabh installed 4 Devis in the 4 directions of Braj. There is Yogamaya Devi in Vrindavan, Pataleshwari Devi in Mathura, Brinda Devi in Kamvan, and Manasi Devi at Govardhan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and also Nityananda Prabhu had described they both rested at that place of Brahmakund before carrying on with their Parikrama of Sri Vrindavan. On the banks of Manasi Ganga is Chakaleshwar Mahadev. Vajranabh installed 5 principal Mahadevs, or forms of Shiva, in 5 different areas of Vrindavan to preside over. There is Gopeshwar Mahadev in Vrindavan, Kameshwar Mahadev in Kamyavan, Bhuteshwar Mahadev in Mathura, Nandeshwar Mahadev in Nandagaon, and Chakaleshwar Mahadev at Govardhan. Sanatana Goswami, he made his bhajan kutir on the banks of Manasi Ganga, just beside Chakaleshwar Mahadev. It was there that Sanatana Goswami, from there he would perform the Govardhan Parikrama each day. With dry leaves at night, he would burn to get light to write his books, as well as through the day. He would chant the holy names, totally absorbed in loving devotional service. Mosquitoes were starting to bother him. And Sanatana Goswami, because we accept what's favorable for devotional service and reject what's unfavorable, so he decided he wasn't a person who used coils and all that stuff. In honor of the mosquitoes, he would rather leave and go to another place. But that morning, Chakaleshwar Mahadev, not able to bear the thought of separation from such a great Mahatma as Sanatana Goswami, he approached Sanatana in the disguise of a Brahmin. And he said, just try one more night, and no mosquitoes will bother you. So to honor this Brahmin, Sanatana Goswami stayed. And meanwhile, Lord Shiva, he summoned the demigod in charge of insects and ordered him, no more mosquitoes here. So Sanatana Goswami lived there for many years. And it was there at Chakaleshwar Mahadev on Manasi Ganga's bank that Sanatana Goswami departed from this world. on Guru Purnima. And to this day, the Brijabasis consider that he is the Guru of Vrindavan. His love, his compassion for everyone. Mukharavinda, according to Gaudiya Vaishnavas, is the mouth of Govardhan. And there, we visited there yesterday. There's, I don't know how many thousands of liters of milk is offered to Sri Giriraj every day at his mouth. Should I continue? As we move forward, we come to Dangati. These are very intimate, very special pastimes of love that have been revealed in the Puranas and by our beloved Acharyas. When Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, when they reveal these beautiful stories, they are simply giving witness to what they see. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. When our eyes are actually anointed with the salve of love, Krishna reveals his pastimes to us. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially sent Rup, Sanatan, Raghunath Das Goswami, the 6 Goswamis to Vrindavan to reveal Krishna's intimate loving pastimes to the world. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Who knows the pastimes of Vrindavan better than Radha Krishna, who has appeared as Lord Chaitanya? And he has summoned most intimate, loving associates from the spiritual world to come to reveal the pastimes of Vrindavan, the holy places of Vrindavan, and also through their writings and through their example, how to access the mercy by which we can connect with those pastimes, realize and experience the love of Krishna that is within our hearts. In the Danakeli Kamudi by Rupa Goswami, he describes various pastimes that took place at Krishnaveti or Dangati. It was a very narrow lane between 2 mountainous areas. And Krishna would perform his pastimes of taxing the gopis there. Krishna had a parrot, Radharani had parrot, Brinda Devi was in charge of all the parrots, and they would all get news, special. See, they didn't need these dumb cell phones in those days. They didn't need these dumb internets. They had parrots. With ecstatic love, Brinda Devi, she would be like the central control. And all messages would be carried out through this at every moment in such loving, special ways. Krishna would block the way, and there were such expressions of love through jokes and arguments. In Vrindavan, everything, every word, every action, every thought is an exchange of pure, unmotivated love. And as we move a little farther, where we started our parikrama yesterday is Dana Nivartan Kund. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, when he was living at Radha Kund, Rupa Goswami sent him a book that he had wrote, Lalita Madhava. And when he was reading about the separation between Radha and Krishna, he was so overwhelmed. Radharani's deep, intense love of separation that Raghunath Das Goswami could not eat. He was already eating hardly a little pat of buttermilk every day, and now he couldn't even eat that. He was becoming emaciated. He was weeping, and devotees wrote to Rupa Goswami, so Rupa Goswami sent another book, the Danakeli Chintamani, which describes the beautiful pastimes of Radha Gopinath together. And when Raghunath Das Goswami read that, he started laughing and he started crying in happiness and started eating his little pat of buttermilk every day. It's a beautiful story. How there was a sacrifice taking place at Govinda Kund. And the story was that anyone who offers a pot of ghee in that sacrifice is going to get all their desires fulfilled. And Radharani and Gopis, their only desire is Krishna's happiness. So with the permission of Purnamasi, the guru of Vrindavan, Yogamaya Devi, Sri Radharani and her principal gopis were going with pots of some ghee, butter, to that place. And on the way, Krishna blocked the way with Madhumangal, Subal, and some other gopas. And Krishna said, for so many days you are passing with all of this valuables, but you have never paid tax. But the Emperor of Love, Kamadev, has sent me to tax you. Now for each gopi, I want several handfuls of pure diamonds. And Sri Radharani, you have to pay extra tax for every beautiful limb of your body. And Raghunath Das Goswami goes into much detail of each particular tax. And there was an argument that ensued. Lalita Saki said, if you don't let us go, then we're going to go tell Kamsa on you. And Krishna said, one of these days I'm going to drag Kamsa right down from his throne and I'm going to beat him to death. That was a prophecy. But nobody took him seriously. And then Krishna said, all right, if you insist, I'll let everybody else go, but we'll keep Lalita Saki in hostage until you all come back with your taxes. Nandi Mukhi, who was the Brahmin, she's a Brahmin gopi, disciple of Purnamasi. She appeared and she said to Krishna that they'll pay their taxes, but at the same time you have to let them go just to protect their dignity and their reputation as being very chaste and pure ladies. So let them go, and I promise you that tomorrow at this time they will come back to pay the tax. So Krishna agreed. But then Lalita, Vishaka, and other gopis, they gathered earlier than the scheduled time at Dana Nivartan Kund. And when Krishna and Subal and Madhu Mangal and a few cowherd boys came with their little sticks dressed as tax collectors, hundreds of gopis surrounded them and tied them to trees. And in sweet, loving words, chastised them like anything. And Krishna was conquered by their love. Please understand, this is Krishna. His universal form, he could eat the universe. Krishna, massive armies he conquered, Jarasandha. But for the gopis, he was like a scared little child. Please don't hurt me. And the gopis said, actually, you owe tax to Radharani because she is Vrindavaneshwari. She is the queen of Vrindavan. And every day your cows are eating her grass. So you owe her tax. The tax is you fall at her feet and you surrender to her and accept her as your queen. And then they took her before Sri Radha, and with tears of love, he bathed her lotus feet and put his head at her feet. And through this beautiful story, we learn that love conquers the beloved. Krishna's Madan Mohan, he conquers the mind of Cupid. Sri Radha's Madan Mohan Mohini, her love conquers the supreme conqueror. And Lord Chaitanya is Radha giving that love to all of us through the chanting of the holy names. We'll continue the Parikrama another day. I'll just tell one small story. From Dana Nivartan Kund, we carry on to what is known as Anakut Kshetra. It is between Dana Nivartan Kund and the village of Aniyor. According to our acharyas, this is several miles, and this is where the Brijavasis made their mountains and mountains and mountains of prasad for Giriraj under Krishna's instruction. Can you imagine? It's about 5 miles of mountains and mountains and kunds and rivers of prasad. And Giriraj ate it all within a moment and cried out, Aniyor, Aniyor, which means, give me more. What could fill Krishna? Krishna's unlimited. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a beautiful story where Advaita Prabhu invites Lord Chaitanya to have prasad at his house. This is when they're living in Jagannath Puri. And Lord Chaitanya came to his house and he saw there was so much prasad. Same kind of Leela took place at Shantipur also. He saw that Advaita had massive quantities of prasad in his house, And it was all in front of the deities. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, just give me a leaf plate and I will take some little sabji and rice. I'm very happy to see that Krishna ate all this. And Lord Chaitanya, in the role of a devotee, was teaching us that our happiness should be in seeing Krishna enjoying. And this is actually a taste of our love, a test of how much we're actually developing love for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada told us many times that when you love Krishna, when you see Krishna dressed beautiful with garlands and jewels, you have no inclination to dress yourself so nicely because you're just happy to see Krishna like that. And if Krishna's happy to see you dressed nicely, then you'll do it too, but you're happy with Krishna's happiness. When we see Krishna getting such wonderful bhoga, that gives us happiness. I remember once at the community I was living, I was a pujari, and for a while it was the rule that for the Raj Bhoga offering every day there was 64 preparations. 365 days a year, 64 preparations. And because I was the pujari, I had to make the plates. There was a place for Gaur Nitai, a place for the gurus, a place for Radha Vrindavan Chandra, a plate for Jagannath, Balaram, and Subhadra, and another plate for the Shalagram Shilas. There was 5 plates with 64 items on each plate. Anyways, it didn't last that long. But we really tried. It lasted about a year. 64 items every day for the Raj Bhoga, and every other offering was about 10 to 12 offerings, 6 offerings a day. And I remember in my own life, on one hand, just knowing Krishna, and each preparation was incredible, opulent preparations. Practically everything you could think of was offered. There was every Raj Bhoga offering. There was kichoris and samosas and malpuras and I think about 15 sabjis and about 6 chutneys, and there was ladus and laglus, and there was gulab jamuns and rasgullas and sandesh and halava. And on one hand, just seeing Krishna eating all these things was so happy. And just making the plates and helping to cook the offerings and then cleaning all the plates. He's just so busy, he didn't have time to think about eating. Just absorption and just Krishna eating. It's wonderful. It's actually the higher taste. When we're so absorbed in just giving Krishna happiness, that we just neither have the time or even the will to enjoy separately. And that was Srila Prabhupada's expertise. Even neophyte devotees just keep us engaged in making Krishna happy. And there's a higher taste in that, even for a new devotee. And I remember one time Srila Prabhupada, during this period, Srila Prabhupada came to and was looking at Radha Vrindavan Chandra. Very gravely, during Srimad Bhagavatam class. He said, your Radha Vrindavan Chandra look very happy. He said, they have appeared as the most beautiful boy and girl just to attract all of you American boys and girls. And he said they look very happy. And then he became very grave. He said, on this Bhakti Marg, the path of devotion, there are two tracks, like two rails on a railway line. There is Pancharatriki Vidhi, the worship of the deities, by making offerings, by dressing them, by singing for them, by performing the artis, Shringar. And there's Bhagavat Marg, which is hearing and chanting. Performing Harinam, performing Japa, reciting and hearing Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is Bhagavat Marg. He said, if you are not very strongly absorbed in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord and performing your sadhana, the day will come, he was very serious, when you will look at the deities and think, why has my guru left me with this burden? Why has my guru left me with this burden of taking care of a temple and deities? Because unless we're very, very serious about taking shelter of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting the holy names in the association of devotees, then we lose our vision, we lose our taste. Deity worship is such a divine blessing. Rupa Goswami explains 5 of the most important limbs of devotional service. Associating with devotees, chanting the holy names, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, visiting holy places in worship of the deities. Deity worship gives us an opportunity to very personally render service, to become attached to the form of the Lord, which awakens our eternal attachment to the form of the Lord through service, cleaning, cooking, dressing, whatever is done, whether we're washing a pot or whether we're offering arti at midnight on Janmashtami. Krishna accepts our love. He accepts the intention of our devotion. Radhe Shyam Prabhu, he's the president of our temple in Pune, and they're building a magnificent temple there. And every day I see him scrubbing the pots here at the yatra. And they're not little pots, they're huge pots. Pots for thousands of people, and he's just down there scraping. And Murlidhar Prabhu, who's a very accomplished dental surgeon in Mumbai, with a very, very prominent, successful dental clinic in Mumbai. And yet every day I see him on his hands and knees, covered with soot, scrubbing pots in the yatra. And I am thinking, this is what it means to be transcendental. In Krishna consciousness, there's no high or low. All there is devotion, there's love. King Prataparuja was the king, but he won Lord Chaitanya's heart when he took the role of a street sweeper. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted him to remain a king too. Whether you're sweeping the street or whether you're the king of an entire kingdom. Krishna doesn't care what your position is. It's that attitude of personal service and love that is everything. So in Anior, Krishna ate all the offerings and then gave it all back. And I know where I was, Advaitacharya. He had all these offerings for Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya was just absolutely happy. I'm in ecstasy that Krishna's eating so nicely. Now just give me some steamed sabji. And Advaitacharya said, no, taste everything. Everything that Krishna had, you should also eat. He said, no, I just want a little steamed sabji. I'm happy to see Krishna. How much can I eat? And Advaitacharya said, I know how much you can eat. In Dwarka, 16,108 palaces, and all your queens are offering you a big feast all at the same time, and you're eating all of it. And during Govardhan Puja, you ate all those miles and miles and miles of massive mountains of food, and you ate it all at once. And you still wanted more. And Jagannath, there's hundreds of cooks making hundreds of preparations every hour practically. And you're eating all of it. This is just a little bit we're just offering you. I know how much you could eat, my Lord. But then Lord Chaitanya ate a little, and Advaita kept giving him more, and Lord Chaitanya said, no, I can't eat anymore, I can't eat anymore. So this is Krishna. There's a beautiful story. Once Shivananda Sain offered Lord Chaitanya so much nice food, Lord Chaitanya couldn't stop eating it because it was offered with so much love. But then the next day, his son invited him back to the house, Shivananda Sain's son, and just offered him some dahi, yogurt, with some black pepper and ginger powder, and all these bitter things for digestion. Because the boy understood that Lord Chaitanya ate too much, and the Lord has indigestion. So therefore, I'm going to give him Ayurvedic foods that increase digestion. So who wants to eat salty little patties? But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was nectar to him because he was seeing the purpose in which it was offered. This is bhakti. You can give Krishna mountains of billions of tons of food, and Krishna can eat it all at one time and say, give me more. Or you could give Krishna a feast, and to reciprocate with your love, he will get serious indigestion and discomfort and ask for some herbal remedies. It's not the food. It's the variations of how Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. So this is the Anakut Kshetra, which is just close. And actually, on November 3rd, we're going to be preparing a beautiful offering, and hundreds and hundreds of devotees will have the opportunity to cook. Be prepared for a very purifying experience, because the smoke of all the cow dung and wood will be very much in your eyes. But those tears of tapasya will give special, not the tears themselves, but the tears of your tapasya of the heart will give special flavor to the food. And we will be offering it right close to Danan, right in the actual place of Anakuchetra, where the Brijabasis are eternally making their offering to Krishna, Shri Giriraj.